transition from student life to working life with Miss Jane. Miss June. Okay, and then thank you also to these who have taken the time to participate in this webinar, especially the Honorable Dani June Argente Matira as our wonderful speaker today. Also to Bu Salama and the team from Pusat Karir UIN Jakarta. And of course, thank you also for Mr. Ahmad Musofa as HR specialist and joining discussion too. And then for dear all participants of this webinar. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm Hanifa Faizah Ramadhani as the moderator of today's webinar, and I'm very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to this event. Today's webinar is about the transition from student life to working life. So I think this topic is relatable for us who are sometimes worried about losing our student life or asking about what it's like to be a work person and how we gonna face the real life, and we need motivation also to respond these transitional changes. So all right, maybe let's get straight to the main event we've been waiting for the most. But before that, I would like to greet our participant here. So how are you guys? Maybe if you don't have any trouble for turning on your camera, you can turning on the camera and get the vibes together with us. So yeah, we can get along together. Yeah, okay. All right. So how are you guys in this afternoon? Yeah, maybe in Philippines, there is a difference in our time zone in Philippines, so it's already afternoon. Wow, thank you so much. Okay, maybe before we go to the main event, I would like to introduce our speaker today. Okay, Miss Denly June Argente Matira. Is that my pronunciation is right, Miss June?
It's okay. Yes, that's perfect actually. Thanks,
Okay.
Anifa.
Okay, so now Miss June served as the training and quality manager in LTV Plus. She has received his bachelor degree in development communication at University of the Philippines and experience in learning and development professional things over 13 years. Wow, so cool, right? Currently, Miss June venturing into e-commerce support, focusing on analyzing and improving customer experience. Oh, I'm already patient to hear our speakers material. So okay, I think Miss June already here. Hello, Miss. So how are you? Kamustaka.
Thanks. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction, Hanifa. I am doing very, very well. I'm super excited and stoked about this forum that we will have. And the moment that I've heard from Ahmad that I will be given a chance to interact with young students who are aspiring to move on to the next phase of their lives, which is the work life. As they said, right, the real life happens after graduation. So it has been a very exciting news for me to be able to be instrumental to provide some insights about how you would transition easily into that next level of their career, and how learning, which is I would say my expertise, I guess, plays around from the difference between what kind of learning you are gaining from academe and how it transitions to the corporate world.
It's really excited to have you, Miss. It's an honor for me to be moderating this event. So yeah, I'm curious about how are conditions now in the Philippines?
Um, Let's say maybe around 60 to 70% of the population have been vaccinated already. So there's a
Wow.
really good program in terms of the vaccination, unlike perhaps as compared to the other countries where they have some hesitations about the vaccines. Here in the Philippines, people are pretty much very acceptable into the idea because we really want to go out. We are a very
Yeah.
hospitable people. We are very warm people. So we need that connection, physical connection to our friends and families. And because of the
Mhm.
pandemic, that has been hampered a lot. And we,
Yeah.
you know, a lot of depressing um, uh, stories we have heard about people who are affected in terms of their mental health because of the pandemic, not only
Yeah.
with their financial health, emotional health, but mental health all together, right? So um, it has been very challenging in the past 2 years, but I think at this stage we are opening our borders again. We have relaxed our isolation
Yeah.
mandates because we're pretty much there in terms of the vaccination efforts of the government. But still, we still have, you know, a really huge amount of cases, but gladly we are, you know, mortality rate is still very low.
Ah, glad to hear that.
How is it
Because
there in Jakarta?
yeah, we also have the typically same condition because in Indonesia here, some of the schools already open too for the offline activities. But yeah, we as the college students still have to face the online meetings or online class. But yep, we also glad because the situation is getting better. Yeah. Okay. Before that, maybe Miss June already have preparing the materials, and I will inform you that there will be a Q&A session after this. So participants can ask question in the Zoom chat column during the discussion session. And I also would like to invite Mr. Ahmad Musafain here to join our discussion also. Okay, so Mr. If you have something to add, please let us know. Okay, all
Hello
right.
everyone.
Yeah. Okay, Mr. All right. Let me see the participant here already 28. Well, okay. Maybe can I have some greetings from the participant. How are you guys? Maybe you can give the emoticon to express how you're feeling today. So maybe I can know what you guys expect from this event too. Okay, maybe. Wow, excited. Yeah, me too. I also can wait for here the material from Miss June. Okay, there is the rainbow emoticon. So Romlan is very happy right now. Okay. All right. Now, allow me to welcome our speaker, Miss June, to deliver her presentation. So, Miss June, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Hanifa. So, just before I start on to my talk, I would like to request for everybody to let's utilize for this interaction to happen. You know, what's very challenging about the virtual world that has, you know, the pandemic has forced us to be in is that, you know, it's really different when you are in an actual session, in an actual venue, and you would have that at least for a facilitator like me, I would see you guys react and accept what I am trying to say, and maybe, you know, this non-verbal cues would be very easy for me to, you know, to give or sense the temperature of the audience, whether you're interested or am I speaking too fast. So if in case that that happens, let's utilize technology. So if you guys are okay to turn on your camera so that I could somehow see you. But if not, that's also fine. If there are any questions that I will be throwing at you, that we will be using our reactions button here in Zoom. So there is a reaction button if you guys are familiar with the use of Zoom. So if I ask you a question, I would be asking you to give me a thumbs up or a heart perhaps from time to time so that you can interact with me. At the same time, if you feel that I speak too fast, please don't hesitate to put that in the chat box and just interrupt me. I'm okay. I don't mind. Just let me know so I could take it a little slow. So it's been one of my traits to speak a little bit fast because I've been interacting with Americans and that's how they speak. So I somehow adopted that already. But please let me know if I have to go a little slow. My presentation is really going to be not as um, in depth, I guess, in terms of what I'm trying to say. You might be learning this, and I would give you guys some resources to read on perhaps after this session. But my intention in this program today is to be able to give you guys, as I've mentioned to Hanifa earlier, to give you guys a paradigm shift somehow. You know, coming from a student life, we some of you might already have the notion or an eye, your eyes are already on the the expectation or the want to go out of the four corners of the room, stop the exams, right? Stop reading books anymore because you like what? How long do we really have to study, right? Here in the Philippines, we have K to 12, so like the 12 years of your life, you're studying, and then plus 4 years for to get a bachelor degree, and then maybe more than years if you want to have a specialization, right? So like that's like almost 20 years of your life. You're reading books, you're studying, you're taking exams. Pressure is on to be on top of the class, right? And graduating somehow gives you a relief that I don't have to do that again. How many of you feels the same way? Give me a thumbs up.
Me, of course. Yeah, that's true.
Right, right. Thank you. Very good. Right. So we have those kind of notion, and I would tell you the same. So I was, I am here to give you my own experience and my own insights as well. When I was graduating, that was my goal. Like I've always been. I'm part of a family, growing up, who are very overachievers. I have my oldest brother is a scientist. He is a marine biologist by profession. He is a professor in one of the known universities here in the Philippines, and specializing in marine biology. He has gotten his PhD and is consulting with the government in different technological advances in marine biology as well. So see how he's so an achiever. And then the other brother that I have is an architecture and industrial engineer. So a double degree holder, a double license degree holder. So like, that's how far he has been. The brother next to him is a civil engineer and a stick engineer for Samsung in Japan. So I am part of that kind of a family that has a high pressure to become an achiever. And you being I don't know, I would consider, when I was a kid, I would consider myself as an average student. I get by. I pass my exam. I have to study in order to pass the exams. But there is that pressure in me to be on the top of the class, because I have to keep up with my brothers who are very intelligent people. So when I was in college, I felt like I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted of competing, of trying to prove myself in terms of my academic achievements. And so I really wanted to get out of the university and just work and be on my own. And if you are in the same page as me right now, I would like to tell you guys that it is okay. It is okay to feel that way, but also to have a different perspective about what education is all about. So in this session, do I have the power to share my screen? Okay, cool. All right. I am here to talk about learning in general, right? So what is the difference between academic learning and corporate training? So my agenda for you today are as follows. So we're going to have to talk about a little bit of what pedagogy and andragogy is all about. So what is these two methods and practices of learning, and how do they relate to our actual real life experiences as we move on to the next phase of our lives? And then we're going to do a granular look into academic learning. What is it there to know? So some of you are still trying to finish their units, have on the way to graduation. But so as if you listen to me right now, and you understand what is it that you have to gain out of this present experience that you are having, in order for you to bring it about to the next phase, which is corporate life. But then you would see, and I would be able to give you guys an insight that learning doesn't stop in the university, because there is what we call corporate training. And so what can you expect from there? So I don't want to burst your bubble. I know that you don't want to study anymore, but the real life, the real story is learning continues, right? But what is the difference? So let's take a look at that later on. And then conclude everything is to understand the importance of continuous learning. Are you guys ready? Give me a thumbs up or a heart.
We are ready. Yeah, let's get
Very
it.
nice. All right, so let's talk about pedagogy, right? Pedagogy, coming from the Greek word pedia, which is children, and ago as guide. All right. So it's the methods and practices of learning for academic intentions, especially for children. Right. So in pedagogy, guys, there are, to characterize the type of, or the methods of practices of learning, the intention is really for learning to be um, highly dependent on the teacher, right? So it's characterizing it as like a glass empty, and we have to fill you in with a lot of information, because that will serve as your foundations and guiding principles into your next phase of your career, or your next phase of your life. So pedagogy, the reason why you are learning as you learn, a lot of you will be thought of, maybe have you guys had some questions about, for example, why do I have to learn calculus? My dream is to become part of the hospitality industry, for example, or you want to be part of the medical professions. Why do I have to learn calculus? I'm not sure how am I going to use this when I get a job or something. But again, all of these um, theories and concepts are being provided to you for your future use. So maybe the next question that I would ask, and I would really love it to hear from our participants, how many of you have is already decided to what career they're going to take on after graduation? Are you very, very sure what are you are passionate about, and what path are you going to take after graduation? Maybe a raise of hands. No one.
Okay. I'm not really sure too. Maybe
How
what I
many
have
how,
to do.
how many of you guys are very sure already that, for example, what what courses do we have here, Hanifa? Or is it like a different students from different courses?
Yeah, there are a lot of faculties in here join us.
Who among you guys are from are taking any courses relating to banking and finance or
Okay.
e-commerce?
Okay,
Do we
mahasiswa
have anyone?
akuntansi. Okay, accountants, college students maybe.
Accountancy, yeah,
Yeah,
accountancy. Anybody from education, BS education?
education, tarbiyah in here. Yeah, education or sociology in here. Social studies.
Social
Oh,
studies.
yeah, international relation.
Do
Yeah,
we have
law, from law. Islamic banking. Okay. Education faculty in here.
law? Wow.
Wow.
Okay. Very nice. So, are you? So let me ask a few people. Let me talk to Imam Bukhari. Did I?
Melawan pemenang
Hello.
Imam?
Hello,
Imam
Miss June.
Bukhari.
Yes.
Yes. Yes, Imam. Are you? You're in law, and
Yes.
I would just like to ask your insight. Are you? Um, do you want to be a lawyer really from, and is that the career that you really are passionate about?
Um, basically, I'm taking law because I don't like mathematics, Miss. Because
There.
my score in mathematics is very low score, and then I'm taking law. Just that.
I think we're on the same page. I took Bachelor of Science in Development Communication because I'm really good in communicating and in words, and numbers will just float around my head too. But yeah, so you're taking law because that's your, you had an interest because that will somehow move you out of the fear of the numbers, right? But at this point, a lot of us, whatever the course we are taking, we thought of this course because somehow it interests us, but I'm not sure, it's good if you are that kind of a person right now that is very sure that this is the career you want to pursue. But some majority of us, I guess, is in that state that I'm in this course because it interests me, but I'm yet to be sure if I'm really gonna be successful in this, or is this going to be the course that I would pursue. Just to also give you guys an insight, me myself, when I took Bachelor of Science in Communication, development communication, so my course, to give you an insight, um, is like mass communication. So if you're more familiar about mass communication, where there are journalists. So I'm BS Development Communication, major in journalism. But if I graduate, for example, if I graduate and I would pursue that career, I won't be in the front page of the newspaper. I won't be in TV doing newscasting. Rather, the articles that I would be writing are for the marginalized or people, marginalized people, or those that are marginalized in the society. So like the farmers, um, health workers, and all that. So me translating a highly scientific breakthroughs into their words, into layman's terms. So that's the goal of my course back then, and I started to love it because of the intention, and the idealism of what I would be doing in the future. But then at the same time, so I kind of dreamt to pursue that, but as you can see, I am now in a different path, right? So I am in a talent development career, and the truth of the matter is, the methods and practices of learning when I was in the academy somehow shaped and helped me, um, gain a better understanding of where do I really see myself, so a lot of you will be given, again, when you start questioning yourself, is this knowledge something that I will really be using when I work? So for example, if you want to be a dentist, do I really have to know calculus to become a dentist? So right, so but the moment you start asking that to yourself, is the pedagogy, method and practices is already working on you, because at that stage you now have a deducive thinking of all the knowledge that is being brought to you. All right, now you are more aware of the different facets of learning, and it is now for your turn to decide, all right, which among these facets would interest you and you would be more passionate about. You wouldn't know, or you can't make a decision for something that you don't have data, you don't have knowledge about. How can you compare? Like for example, this is a very practical explanation why you have to be able to see everything in order to decide properly. How would you know if someone is ugly if you don't know what's beautiful, right? So you have to have a comparison. That's why in pedagogy, the methods and practices of learning is giving you all these theories. The approach is to be able to give you, to direct you, all right? For the teacher to aid you of all of this important information, so that at the end, you will now be able to weigh your options, right? So what then is andragogy? Andragogy are the methods and practices used in adult learning. So here in adult learning, learning is more self-directed. The reason why a person would come into a class, into a particular course, is because of their own self satisfaction and their own self intentions. So they don't have to be dictated anymore by a teacher that you have to take this, otherwise you're not gonna have the next mastery level. It is just up to you. You have to go there because there is what we call what's in it for you, right? What's in it for me when I go to this course? So there is that motivation. The motivation now is no longer about having good grades or pleasing your parents or advancing in the competition. It's more on what's in it for me. So with that, the methods and practices in the adult learning has to also utilize the experiences and the knowledge that these adult learners already have in themselves. So earlier I talked about pedagogy is all about um, a glass being filled with a lot of information. Here in andragogy, we treat our learners as people who are already half filled, and they just have to supplement that with what else do they have to learn. So it's now whatever is filled within them can be also transferred to the other participants. So the professor or the teacher here no longer just serves as the um, expert, but rather a facilitator of learning. So when you go to a class of in a corporate training, you would realize that why is my teacher always asking me questions? Where in fact in the academe, what usually happens is the teacher talks more and more and more, and I sit there, I listen, and then if the teacher asks me questions, that means it's a graded recitation. Okay, here in andragogy, in the methods and practices in adult learning, you would realize that the facilitator will keep on asking you about your own life experiences, and maybe from those life experiences that you have and knowledge that you the prior knowledge that you bring will also be a resource of knowledge for not only for the facilitator, but also for the others who haven't had that experience but will learn from your own experience. So we become more of a facilitator of learning. Before I proceed, do I have any questions so far? Okay, please, again, feel free to interrupt me if ever that I am speaking too fast, okay? All right, the next one. Now, in academic learning, now that you have a few days or a few months away from graduation, what is there really for me to know? Okay, what is important? Important for you to know is that everything that you will be learning in the academy is very holistic. So it provides you with a deep understanding of the theories and the concepts that you will learn. So it's a very broad approach. So don't be distracted or don't be disheartened by the fact that there's just so many things. Why do I need to memorize the definition of terms? Why do I have to memorize all this formula? Why do I have to read the constitution from front to back? Right? So because it is expected. What's there for you to know in the academic learning is it's a very holistic approach. You have, as I've mentioned earlier, you are being supplemented with these information so that by the end of your learning, you will now have a better understanding to, I have this knowledge, where do I put that in use? Is this knowledge something that I would be able to use now, or is it something that I will be able to perhaps use in the future? So it's a holistic approach. The learning is very slow and steady, very slow and steady. Again, just using mathematics as a concept, right? We start learning by counting numbers, right? We start learning to count 1 to 10. So we count, and then we start learning about mathematical operations, addition to begin with, combining numbers in order to come up with a new amount, and then subtraction, deducting from a specific amount to another amount. So slow and steady. Also goes for example, for a concept in history or in science, that we always start with the history of something, definition of something, and then the concept, and whatever is the more practical use of that concept. It takes about not only a semester sometimes, but even years to keep on repeating. So for example, in science, we start off with identifying the different parts of the body, and then later on in the next level, we will be learning about the cerebral function, reproductive system, nervous system. So it becomes deeper and deeper. But you don't have to learn it all in just grade 1 or grade 2. It has to be slow and steady. Now, as I keep on saying, it's more theory rather than practice. So why is that, June? Why is it theory rather? Why don't we have more practice in? Why is learning not so practical in academic learning? Because we also understand in the academe that that might not be necessary at this point, because the reason again why we're giving you all of this information is for you to be able to decide where are you going to be passionate about. So for example, if you are not really passionate about science, right? And we keep on we spend a lot of time talking about asking you to go to a science laboratory and dissect a body or study the chemical reactions of whatever, right? If that is not your interest, why would we spend a lot of time to that? It's going to be a waste of time. So rather, we are giving you in the academe the theories and the concepts, so that at the end of everything, now you decide based on the theories and concepts that you have been taught of, Where are you more passionate about? And then from there, you will have your own specialization and pursue your learning based on your interests and passion. Do I make sense? Give me a thumbs up, please. You're very shy on the thumbs up. Yay, I have some thumbs up. Very nice. Thank you very much. All right, now let's talk about corporate training. As I've mentioned, learning never stops. So after graduation, okay, the truth is that there is still learning that will happen in the corporate setting. So I guess that's also one of the reason why I'm in this career. I realized one of the things that I realized when I started my career in customer service is in all aspect, in all type of industry, training will always be there. When you get a job, the first thing that will happen to you is new hire orientation, and that's training, and that's a classroom setup. Okay, so there will be a facilitator teaching you about what to expect in the corporate in the company, and the do's and don'ts, and the culture and the values, and performance management. So as early as your day one, when you get a job, training is already there, right? So and then I realized no matter where I go, I've been in the BPO industry, I've been in the hospitality industry, I've been in banking and finance, I've been in IT, in an IT company. Now I'm in e-commerce. In all of those industries that I've been to, um, they all have their specialization. They all have experts on those fields. But what's the common ground? June is the common ground. June has been in all of those industries. And what am I? I am a learning development professional. I am in training. The common ground is that there is a need for learning in any industry that you will pursue. So, what can be expected? That when you go to a training session in the corporate world, it's gonna talk about a specialization. Let me give you an example. If you're in the hospitality industry, there are different roles in the hospitality in a hotel, for example. You would have a receptionist, you would have the housekeeping, you would have HR, you would have a lot of functions, right? Now let's talk about the receptionist and the housekeepers. Whatever, if you are in the role of a receptionist, the courses that you will be taking is specialized for your job role. You will not be asked to fold how to fold bed sheets properly because you're a receptionist. So the courses that will be designed for you to take is for you to perform well on your job. On the other hand, when you are a housekeeper, you will not be put into a course on how to properly put on your makeup, how to address difficult customers, because you wouldn't need that in your role, right? So in that sense, unlike the academe where everything you have to learn, in the corporate world, even if there are a lot of functions, okay, your learning is going to be very specialized on your job role. Next is that because there is a rapid change and dynamic environment in the corporate or in the business world, a lot of trends we have to keep up. So if you guys are familiar with the case of Nokia, for example, Nokia way back in the past is like the number one mobile phone in the world, right? The mobile phone brand. But what happened to them? What happened to them is that they lose their prestige, they lose their place in the market because they stopped keeping up on the trends. So when other companies starts looking into the other technology of being smartphones, they just focused on the physical appearance of their phone, you know, from the big phones all the way to the smaller ones, slide phones and all, but they never keep up on the smart technology. So in order for corporations to ensure that they don't become a Nokia or they don't become a Kodak, for example, they have to keep up to the trends and also to the different global organizational standards. So therefore, we are going to be asked to take on, as employees of the organization, to take on courses to keep up with the trends and also to be compliant to the global standards, as the global standards also is very rapidly changing and dynamic. So if you guys will be hearing a lot of ISO standards if you go to very global organizations. So what are these ISO standards, and how will the employees have to behave in order to be compliant to those global standards? Last one that you can expect in a corporate training is that it's really going to be very, very practical. So what does that mean? We in the adult learning, in the corporate training, has to be able to immediately apply the knowledge in order for the skill to be enhanced. So for example, as I've mentioned, the proper folding of bed sheets. Not only, so there will still be a classroom training, giving them a demo, giving them the theory and the concept of why it has to be folded this way, how is it going to be called, how do we define this kind of fold. But at the same time, after that session, the learners will automatically be asked and forced to apply the knowledge that they have gained in the classroom session and test their skills into it and improve their skills into it. So there is going to be an immediate application of the learning that you have gained. So that is what you are all going to expect in the corporate training. How does that sound so far to you guys? Do you think corporate training is exciting? You can answer in the chat box. Yes, there. So right. So
Sometimes it makes me nervous to think about the corporate training. Yeah.
It makes you nervous. It makes you nervous. But you know what? It's okay. I think in any type of in any type of situation, the nerves that we feel keeps us on our toes and makes us better performers. And that's what I like about the feeling. It induces your adrenaline rush, and it keeps, as I've mentioned, it keeps you into your toes. So when you don't, you know, the good thing is that when you are there in the corporate training and you know that the reason why you are sitting in that chair is because you now have what's in it for you. And whether that would be because you want to provide for your family, because you want to keep your job, because you want to be promoted, or you want to fast track your career, all is because of you. The intention is for the betterment of your life. So I think if we do something that has the intention to better our lives and to better the lives of our families, you know, that nerves will then turn it to be to excitement, and pushes us to challenge ourselves to become better to what we are doing. Correct? Right. So as we are already on that particular stage in that discussion, this is a message that I want to perhaps relate to everybody here. Your learning never stops. So again, going back to my message earlier, if you are that type of person who at this very moment is just very tired of of reading books already. You're already very tired of exams and um, listening to a teacher, learning new concepts. You have to have, as early as now, learn to have that paradigm shift and be more accepting into what you are gaining right now in your academic learning as a, preparation for you to be able to decide where are you going to use this knowledge, to deduce what are you going to pursue in the future, okay, and be that guiding principle or your guiding foundation. Now that you are learning this, I one story that I could tell you, when I was in college, I never thought that one of the most feared subjects that I had was statistics. How many of you guys are taking statistics here? Do you have any subjects on statistics, even the basic ones? Learning the graphs. You is do you find it exciting, Nabila? Do you like it? Do you like statistics? Nabila? I like it, but sometimes it's too hard. Good for you. For me, it's just too hard. So I don't like it. Yes, Reza, I don't like it too. So I really don't like it. I don't even know, I started to hate bell curve as a shape. Okay, because it was very traumatic for me during that time. I started to hate bar graphs, okay, because for me they are all just lines, right? So City also don't like it. But you know what? After I graduated and I came into my profession, how I wish I listened to my professor back then. Guys, it is very important. Okay, if you want to be in the corporate world, data is, I think, regardless of industry, data is an inescapable truth. Okay, and it's a very powerful tool. And for you to be able to handle data and to interpret the data, you are going to be, that would be your what do you call this, your differentiator amongst all the best in the field. Because if you know how to analyze data, you can deduce this good decisions, right? You can make critical decisions because you are aware of how to analyze your data. And looking back, the education that I had to be able to analyze the data was statistics, and I completely ignored it. So how I really wish. So if you are now going through your subjects that you feel like, I really don't like this, try to remember what I'm trying to say to you, that everything that the teacher is giving you is going to be very important when you go to the next level of your career, because from there, at least you listen to your teacher and you would have that knowledge. So when I came to my job and I had to do data analytics, I started searching for my old statistic books, and unfortunately, because I hated I hated that subject very much, I already have thrown my photocopies of the pages, and I was like, oh, now I have to just rely on Google and YouTube. Right? So, but um, learn how to embrace all this information that are given to you, because eventually when you move to your next career, learning never stops. Okay, learning never stops. A lot of us are we have heard from one person to another that's trying to inspire us. I should be able to do what I love. Have you heard of that? In order for me to be really happy in my life, I should find my passion I should be able to do what to find something that I really love and pursue that. Anybody who's have had that, have heard of that, and that became your North Star, that I should be able to do what I love. Anybody? Yeah, right. Yes, I've heard of that, right? So a lot of us have heard of that. But the truth is, you won't always end up doing what you love, right? I was told by Ahmad and Salama when we first talked that I should be inspirational to you guys. Maybe I'm starting to break your heart now. But I am here to give you what is true. And because that's my intention in this talk, to give you really what's there outside of the four corners of the room. It's, you're not always going to end up doing what you love. There is this very popular person in here in the Philippines. She's named as Shaira Luna. She has been known as a gifted child. At the age of 12, um, she was accelerated to enroll for Bachelor of Science in Biology at the age of 12, right? What grade am I when I was in 12 at 12 years old? I think I was just grade 6 or first year high school, right? But she is taking Bachelor of Science for in biology. That's how gifted she is. But you know what? In the course of her life, um, she never really knew what she wanted. She took up a lot of different courses. So she took BS biology for like how many years only, and then shifted to another course, and then shifted to another course, until she finds herself not graduating in any of those courses because she just can't find, okay, what she's really interested to, because that's how gifted she is. And that now she is in a profession, okay, of photography. But she's also excelling. In fairness, she's also excelling very well in photography. She loves what she's doing. But for all of us, regular people, okay, the regular people, we, the tendency for us is, especially for example, you would have some courses like forestry or agriculture, right? It's a very noble profession, and I think people who takes those courses already have the heart for it. I want to go to the poverty line and be able to help them out. I wanna make a difference in this world. That's why I'm in this in this course. But the reality of life is you need to first be able to provide to your own family. Thus, you would resort to high paying jobs that may not be necessarily relevant to the course that you have taken. And again, going back to my point, the truth is you won't always end up doing what you love. So if a lot of people are telling you, do what you love, go for it. Yes, right? If you become successful, go for it. But if you are in a situation where life is going to be different and would force you to be on a specific path because it would make lives, your family's lives better, your life better, because it will provide better for your loved ones, then you have to start thinking to have a paradigm shift from doing what you love to loving what you do. And how do you create a paradigm shift of loving what you do? The first step is to embrace, to learn your profession, to learn more about it. And that's what I realized in my own self. I really like my course, development communication, because I love working with marginalized people back in college. And I saw myself being part of the United Nations one day and making a difference in this world. But then I end up applying for a BPO company because it's a high paying job, and I don't really came from a very well off family. So I said to myself that maybe later on I can still pursue that, but for now I have to be very practical and just be able to provide for myself and for my family. But then you know what? I have a realization in my life that I have to, in order for me to advance and to realize what I want in my life faster, I have to be good at what I do. So back in college, back in when I was starting in my career in the BPO industry, I'm not as good in the command of the English language. So as you guys, just like you guys, English is not my mother tongue. It is not my first language. English is a second language in the Philippines. So when I was applying in my early years in the BPO industry, and because as you know, in the BPO industry, you would have to speak with foreigners. So I have to learn the language. And I said to myself, if this is what's going to put food in my table and provide for my family, I would have to be good at it. So I started learning. I started watching only American series. I have been reading journals in English. So I had to be proficient in the language. And from then on, I started deep diving into how can I be a better customer service person, and understand how do I increase customer satisfaction, how do I increase um, client client relationship or improve client relationship. So because of that, as I keep on learning and deep diving into this career that I have entered on, from doing what I supposedly love, I started loving what I am doing right now. Because knowledge is power, and knowledge gives you better understanding of the world around you. I would like to end this presentation by showing you guys a video.
From an early age, we are told to get a good education. We all associate education with school and college, but then a lot of us think learning stops after college. After all, formal education can help us maximize our potential to find better jobs. However, the truth is that learning shouldn't stop there, and in fact, there are many opportunities to further your knowledge in life. We are naturally lifelong learners because we do lifelong learning in small ways like learning how to use a new app or learning how to cook something new, yet not everyone is a lifelong learner. From this point on, when I refer to lifelong learning, I'll be defining it as self-initiated self-education
I don't know why it's keep on stopping.
for personal and professional development. Sometimes people stop educating themselves because they are too caught up with life, and they are not willing to make time for self-education because they don't see it as something important. This video will go over why you need to be a lifelong learner to show you the importance of lifelong learning. Personal development and professional development are the two main reasons for lifelong learning, and there's a good reason for that. Those two areas reap the most rewards when you are a lifelong learner, and by being a lifelong learner, your overall quality of life will increase. There are many reasons why people want to learn for personal development. Maybe you want to increase your knowledge, or skills in a hobby, or you want to learn a new skill that can enhance your life, or you want to learn how to interact with people better, or you want to learn how to take care of yourself better. You want to keep learning for personal development because it will help you achieve a more satisfying personal life. On the other hand, the main reason why people want to learn for professional development is to get into the position they desire. Some people will want to keep learning to be better at what they do, so they are indispensable to their employers, while other people will want to learn other skills to get a new job. If you're still not convinced that lifelong learning can improve your overall quality of life, here are 4 benefits of lifelong learning. 1. Lifelong learning can renew self-motivation. Sometimes, we fall into a rut when we are constantly doing things just because we have to do them. Things like cleaning the house or going to work are mandatory things we constantly have to do, and it can feel like every day is the same. When you're learning through self-education, you're going to be learning something you want to learn. This will serve as a good reminder that you can do the things in life you want to do. 2. You get to discover your personal interests. In this day and age, information is everywhere. You can learn anything you want with the internet. By spending some time learning something you're curious about, you can find out whether it interests you or not based on how you feel while learning. By finding out your personal interests, life will suddenly be more interesting and it will open future opportunities. 3. Your self-confidence improves. Being more knowledgeable and skilled in various areas can improve your self-confidence both in your personal and professional life. In your personal life, your confidence will increase due to the time you spent on learning and improving yourself. This can lead to a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction from growing as a person. In your professional life, you can be more proud of your skills due to the time and effort you spent learning to improve them. Also, your work might feel even easier, which will lead to a boost in confidence. 4. Lifelong learning can challenge your ideas and beliefs. We all have ideas and beliefs that are wrong. For example, you might not realize how important mental health is, but then when you start learning about self-development, you realize that mental health is a very important issue that many people face. If you're not engaging in lifelong learning, you'll never have the opportunity to see different viewpoints and realize your faults. Whether you're pursuing your personal interests or chasing professional ambitions, lifelong learning will help increase your overall quality of life. As for how you can apply it in your life, here are some steps you can take. 1. Make a list of what you want to learn. 2. Choose one thing you want to learn and identify the resources available. 3. Structure in some time in your day to learn. Make sure the time frame is realistic and doable. 4. Make a commitment to try to learn every day if possible. What's something you're learning right now? Leave a comment below and check out the video shown on the end screen about the importance of reading and why you should read.
Okay. And that ends my presentation, everybody. I'm opening now the table for everybody to ask me questions.
Jen, I have one question.
Sure.
Actually, because this session is live in YouTube, so someone sent me the text. And, she is actually one of my friend here, and she asking. Currently, she take the agriculture science. And somehow she's working in the banking industry.
Wow.
Still in the study, still within the study, but in the second years. But I don't know, is it part-time or how? But she's working in the banking industry at this moment, and she take in the same time he learned the agriculture science. So her question is very simple. How any advice from June how to make my balance learning between the industry and then in my campus learning, in education learning. So how to suggest on how to make a balance. So,
make a balance, right? So thank you very much for that question to the person who asked the question.
her name is Anna. Anna,
right. So Anna, thank you very much for sending that question. It's a common thing for a lot of people, and I have mentioned the truth is we never end up doing something that we were supposed to or we had an eye to because of different life circumstances, right? So and then we end up, even for myself, for example, I still wanted to now I'm trying to realize that with the job that I do, I wanted to pursue another degree, which is psychology. I wanna have a master's degree in psychology eventually, and the fear that a lot of people are having right now when you come to age, I guess I'm a family person. I have 2 kids, which is also a full-time job apart from the job that I handle right now. So the fear of a lot of people that comes to that part of their age is, how do I still balance, being good at what I do, at the same time pursuing something on an academic level or in the industry that you in the future you're preparing yourself for. I guess it's all about number one is the sense of grit, right? So grit, so GRIT, if you guys have heard of it. You have to increase your sense of grit, or your grit, basically. That when you say grit, it's somehow a higher degree of resiliency. You have to be resilient, because the truth is, as you are trying to pursue things that you really love, it won't always go your way. Okay, but at the same time, you have to increase your sense of grit and your resiliency to accept the fact that, for now, I might have to pause because my kids needs me more. My work has a more demanding um requirement, so I would have to pause on this. But that this shouldn't discourage you to come back, because again, it's lifelong learning. That's the last message that I wanted to put out there. There should be no deadline for you to stop learning, and there it's no longer a chase of, I have to graduate in 4 years, or I have to graduate in 3 years. No, it's a lifelong learning. So how do you balance that? It's all about you compartmentalizing yourself also. Remember your job. Eventually, when you guys have your job is just going to be one part of your life. It doesn't, you should not be working to live, but working is part of your life. You have to live your life, and that means you have to have a balance between what you're doing as professionally, and what you would also do for your family, the time that you will spend with your family, people that you love the most, with your friends. You also have to compartmentalize yourself in terms of thinking about your mental health, your professional and personal development. So that's how you balance. So what I do in my life is that um, I have a full-time job, which is an 8-hour work, and I have to make sure that all of my tasks are finished within my shift. So I would have, after my 8-hour work, I stop thinking about my work, right? And I have to switch into another aspect of my life. I have to switch, because otherwise, if I put the other aspects of my life juggled, or intertwined with each other, it's not going to be healthy. At the same time, for example, I'm at work, I have to focus myself just for the work itself. So if I am working in the office, or if I'm working for my organization, and my kids are crying in the background, I have to have someone to help me take care of that, because otherwise it's not going to be also healthy for me. It's not going to be professional for me to be attending to my personal matters when I'm at work. At the same time, if I'm done with my work should not interfere with my personal life anymore. So I switch off, I turn off my email, I turn off my work communication channels, and just I focus on my family. So if you are the person who's trying to juggle a lot of things, working professionally, working with your family, and then you're trying to pursue your personal and professional development, you have to be able to compartmentalize and to shut down one part of the door in order for you to focus and open that door and be able to really just be into it, so that you become successful in all parts of your life. You cannot be a master of one. You have to be, in life, you have to be able to find time for each part of or aspect of your life. I hope I was able to answer your question.
Yes, thank you, Jane.
Any other questions?
Yeah, maybe I would like to remind again, so everyone can put the question in the column box, in the chat box, or maybe raise hand to
I
turn
think
on
I
the
have
mic.
one. Yeah,
Oh
Nabila.
yeah,
Nabila,
Nabila Hardarfi.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss June, for the amazing insights. So I have a personal question. So as a last year student, this topic is super interesting for me because I'm in the age between academic life and work life. So I am currently working on my thesis for requirements for graduation, and I'm also need to search experience for my CV. So it's it's kind of confusing there. Sometimes I'm confused how to manage things well between my academic life and my I guess soon to be career life, where I search experience like internship and volunteer. So the question is probably kind of same as before. It's about how to balance things, but maybe Miss June has any suggestion for me.
Okay. That's really one of the hardest thing to do right now, because when you graduate, the competition is tough. I'm going to tell you that. Um, a lot of organizations will be requiring you to have an experience in order. Only a few would really. I don't know about Jakarta or Indonesia, if you are more open to entry level positions. We have a fair here in the Philippines, and even in the global arena. We have a very fair balance between the need for entry level positions and experienced professionals. Now, this is one thing that I would like to say to all the young aspirants right now who are graduating, that you don't be a sponge to be able to learn everything you need to learn. So now you're having troubles finding an internship and also completing your academic requirements, but you know what, it's still going to be something that you have to have that sense of responsibility. And as I've mentioned, in the student life, you have to be able to compartmentalize. One of the very very important lesson that I have learned in my current job is that you have to be able to use your calendar wisely. Okay, so one of the techniques that I do when I have too much to do, okay, is that I look into my calendar. So when I say a calendar, it's not the literal calendar where you have the days and the months, but it's actually my daily time. So for example, in 8 in the morning I would wake up, 9 in the morning. So this is a lesson that is being taught to us during elementary days, to be able to do time management, good time management, right? What do we do in a specific hour? And I'm just so amazed that only in this day, at this age, do I really have to use it practically. um so what I would do is, if I have a lot to do in a day, I would set a target limit for myself. So for example, reading emails is one of the tasks that eats up a lot of my day. Then what I would do is I would set up just a time. So for example, I would only allot 1 hour of my day to just read on emails. If I'm not able to finish reading my emails in 1 hour, I would have a hard stop. Okay, I would have a hard stop and then move on to the next task. So maybe my advice to you is, be able to identify all your tasks for the day or your week, and then allocate a certain time on your day or on your week that you would only be looking into it. So if you are writing your thesis, for example, if you're writing your thesis, you're trying to complete a project, you're trying to also study for an exam, and you're trying to find an internship. So all of these things happening all at the same time for you. You have to be able to plot it in your calendar, When will I study for the exam? When will I start writing my thesis? How much time am I going to do that? Which part or which day of the week will I be on job hunting for internship? And put a hard stop for you. You cannot intertwine everything. You have to have focus on each of the things so that you will be able to accomplish something. Because if you don't focus on one thing and you keep on intertwining a lot of things, then you are just going to have to end up doing nothing at all. You would feel very exhausted, but then you have not achieved anything because you didn't have focus. So maybe start looking into your activities, do your prioritization, and plot it in your calendar so that you will be able to um, have a good direction and a target timeline for you to achieve these activities. I hope that was helpful, Nabila.
Yeah, thank you. So planning and sense of responsibility is the key, right?
I'm
Thank you,
sorry?
Miss Quinn.
Yes,
Planning is the key. Planning things.
many things, right? Correct. Miss June, thank you for this interesting sharing. I would like to ask about your experience as a talent and quality manager. What is your strategy and best practice in managing people and talent and optimizing their potential so that they can show their best performance? In the corporate setting, what's important is that I think you when you start in the corporate world in whatever industry, you would always be hearing the concept of coaching and feedback. Okay, so in order for you to there will be a lot of aspect in employee handling that will be tackled to you when you start working in a corporate setup, and one of those is coaching and feedback. But together with that is what we call performance management, right? And to begin with there should be an understanding first of what is the job description of this person. So for example, if I, as a training and quality manager, I handle trainers and quality assurance specialists. So let's just talk about trainers, for example. I should be, as a person who handles or manage these people, I should have a good understanding about their job tasks and be able to analyze what are their strengths and weaknesses based on their performance. Now, in order for me to measure their performance, it has to be very clear to both of us, the employee and myself, to about what are my expectations to them. What am I looking for them to or what are the targets that they have to accomplish at the end of the month or at the end of the year? So once that expectation has been clearly set to them, then I can now start looking into performance management, or looking into their performance. Are they achieving their targets? If they are not achieving their targets, there comes the coaching and feedback part, wherein I call them one by one, and then I talk to them, and then I say, "Hi, this is your target, and this is your actual performance at this stage. What do you think are the good thing, or what things have you done well? And if there's something that you would do differently next time, what would that be?" And from that discussion, I would know how do I supplement them, how do I become instrumental in their professional development in order for them to become better at the job that they do. So with that, I can optimize their potential. So they're the high performing individuals, they won't have a problem, but how do I increase, or maybe, as mentioned, optimize their potential to give them more challenging tasks, expose them to other roles or functions that they've never done before, so that they would realize, this is something that I can do. So for example, some of my work as a manager, I would also ask them to maybe, lead on. I would, instead of me always doing client presentations, I would call one of my high performing individuals and do the client presentations that they've never done before. And by that way, this is what we now call experiential learning in the corporate setting. Because if I just talk and talk to that person about what it entail to become a good leader, or to become a good manager, is going to be very different if they experience it themselves. And experience, as they say, is always going to be the best teacher. So in that way, again, coaching and feedback, understanding and having that relationship with your people is the best way for us to be able to support them and become better in their job. I hope I was able to answer your question, Ari. Very nice. Any other questions? Going once, twice. Now, guys, for those of you who might have other questions, and even after this session, if you still have some insights, you may connect with me on Facebook. It's June of September, so I'm sorry, my name is not June Matera in Facebook. It's June of September because I'm trying to become millennial nowadays. Okay, or you may connect with me in my LinkedIn profile. So my name is Dani June Argente Mater in LinkedIn. And you can always ask me questions. And if you would like me to maybe, connect with me, feel free to connect with me. And maybe in my connections, there will be some people that might catch your attention with regards to a career that you're trying to pursue. For those of you who are also eyeing to become part of the service industry, I may be of help also in the future for you. So feel free to connect with me in LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, Miss June, maybe I want ask one question because I also curious and I wonder, when you are in the down phase, maybe you also feel somehow it's difficult, or maybe having some feeling burnout for tackling some jobs. What will you do, and what makes you can still keep your resilience in that learning phase, or maybe when you starting your lifelong learning, because we are having many obstacles, and what makes you can stay resilient until now? Yeah.
I think what really helped me overcome challenges or obstacles, because I would tell you, I'm also just like a very normal person, that when there's just so much things to do, I end up saying to myself, I don't want to do this anymore. Sometimes at my age, you would even hear me saying that I'm too old for this. I'm no longer. The good thing about this generation, the audience that we have here, is that you guys are pretty young people. The fire is there, burning, right? But when you come into an age just like me, the fire starts to dim a little bit, because life happens. There are a lot of other life circumstances that happens to you, and you become to seek for more peace and just simple life. You know what I mean? But then I realized one thing that makes me resilient in all of the challenges that I face. And why do I keep on pursuing to become good at what I do? I just look up into my kids or to my loved ones, and because I really want them to be able to say that I'm really proud of my mom. That despite taking care of our family, she is also able to prosper in her career, and also stay relevant in this world that we live in. Because not only do I want to be regarded as a good mother, that's ultimately the goal of a person, I guess of a mother, not only to become a good mother, but I want my kids to be proud that I'm also proud of me being an individual and a woman. So I guess from what my intrinsic motivation is and my goal in life, um when I'm already at the point where I'm really tired, I just remind myself that by doing this, are my kids going to be proud? By doing this, am I fulfilling my inner satisfaction of being a better individual and a woman, an empowered woman who has a voice in the society and a voice to influence people, and that regains and lit the fire back in.
June,
Okay.
I have another one classical question, June. This is it's very classic, funny, but it's happened. The question was mentioned that in Bahasa, but let me translate it. My mother is accountant,
Okay.
but she need me to be in engineers.
Okay.
She need me become engineer like a father did. But I don't like an engineer because my passion is my passion is teaching a kid. So
Okay.
he took the what we call it uh, sem, uh, special teaching, but for uh, unordinary people,
Okay.
extraordinary people. So special teaching to that extraordinary people. So how how should I go? Better I as my mother as my mother did, as my mother want, or I need to go to according to my passion because I love a teacher.
Well, as I've mentioned, it depends on your life circumstances. As I, it's a decision. I cannot make the decision for you. And nobody else can, not even your mother. Your mother wants you to become an engineer. You want to be a teacher. You do what you do you. That's what they say in English. You do you. Whatever your decision is in life, you have to be responsible for it. I always hear a lot of my friends also saying, like, um I'm in this relationship with my with my boyfriend or my whatever, and then what should I do? Should I break up with him? Should I stay in this relationship? Again, I cannot tell the person what she needs to do. The only thing I can do is to listen and to and ask questions, and then hoping that for with the questions that I would be asking, you would be able to decide for yourself. Because if I tell you now that you have to do what you're passionate about, whatever the consequences of that, it is you who's going to bear those consequences, not me, not anybody else. It is you. So you have to make that decision for yourself. And whatever decision you make, you have to stand for it and be responsible for it. And then look into again what I said in that presentation. Wherever you are at, whatever you are doing, whether that's something that you're doing but you already love, or you are in a situation where you are doing something, it's not really about your passion, you have to start loving what you do, because only in that way you will find contentment, fulfillment, and satisfaction about the life that you're living. I hope that makes sense.
Okay. Maybe it would like be the last question in this session. I really have enjoy to sharing and also hearing for Miss June, because so thank you very much, Miss June, for giving us such insightful and interesting presentation or the material. It really gives as a reminder, also useful for our future, so we can be better for decide what we will do. And also maybe this time for us to saying goodbye. But before that, maybe Miss June can give the closing statement for this session.
All right. So again, thank you very much to Pusat Career UIN Jakarta for giving me the opportunity to be here and to speak to this audience and to be able to share my own experiences, my knowledge to people, and I'm really hoping that I was able to impart something from you guys. You were able to pick up some tips and tricks of how you guys are going to move forward with with the next phase of your life. Thank you very much. My only my general, again, my last, I guess, my last words for you is, wherever you will be, no regrets, and just be a lifelong learner. Okay, only by that, if you embrace that habit of learning, okay, learning is power, knowledge is power. You will all be amazed of wherever you are, whatever you do, you read on it, you become masters of it, and eventually, again, from doing what you love to loving what you do. So I wish you all the best, everybody, and I hope, this world is, we run in circles, as they say. Maybe one of these days I'll just bump into you and maybe work with you as well in the future. So all the best of luck to the future graduates, and to the organizers of this event. Thank you very much once again, and God bless us all.
Thank you very much, Miss June. Maybe we can take a picture together, before we close this session. Kariski, can you?
I sorry, I also put in the chat box my LinkedIn profile. If you guys would like to connect with me, I am there.
Yeah, please connect with DJ Matira. Okay, in LinkedIn. Yeah, I also have the LinkedIn too. Okay, maybe we can turn on our camera so we can taking picture together and documentation this session. Okay, for the operator, please.
Okay. In my computer there is 2 pages, and I will take a picture one by one on that page. Okay, maybe I will start on this the first page. Maybe we can smile, guys. 1, 2, 3. Okay, on the second page, keep smile, guys. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, maybe once again we can give our finger like this or like this. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, on the second page, keep smile and give the finger. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Kariski. Okay, maybe, ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the end of this seminar. Before I close the webinar, maybe I would like to take the conclusion from what the speaker, Miss June, has presented. Yeah, I really have learned new insight about the between pedagogy and andragogy, but what makes me really linger in my mind is that we have to be good about what we do, and then we can love what we do if we already good at it. So we can always be learning every time, everywhere, because that's what Miss June said. We can also pursue what we love. Okay, so yeah, maybe I'd like to thanks again, once again, to Miss June for the informative and interesting presentation, and also all the participants for the very active participation. And then finally, please give the virtual applause for Miss June and everybody in here. Yeah, let's give the reaction. Okay, thank you very much. So even guiding this event, I made mistakes. I said sorry, or maybe please forgive me if there's some lacking. And thank you once again for participating this event. I am Hanifa and I'm checking out. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, guys.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, June.
Thank you, Miss June. Thank you, Mr. Ahmad.
Thank you, Mas Ahmad.
Hanifa nggak dicobain, Hanifa belajar tadi bahasa Tagalognya.
Wah, udah sempet nyoba nih. Salamat, selamat.
Selamat.
Selamat. Ya.
Aduh, thank you semuanya ya, keren. Ya Bu, makasih Bu.